Everyone, just a quick video today about scatter feeding for rabbits, especially for bonded pairs. I have the rabbits' veggies ready in this bowl. I think it's so funny because whenever I scatter feed, a lot of people assume that I don't have a bowl, which is why I do it, which I guess is a good reason to scatter feed too. But I'm going to add in the bowl and show you guys how the rabbits react. For those of you that don't know, my rabbits were previously very well bonded. They had a couple scuffles. And now, as like the hierarchy or pecking out order is getting reestablished, Butchin is a little bit more territorial, and Sachin knows that, so he usually tries to stay his distance. A lot of people would say this and assume that it's fine, that the second rabbit is going to eat whenever he wants and just leave it. Again, these rabbits are bonded, so you're not seeing Butchin exhibit like any aggression or territorial behavior or like chasing Sachin away from the food. But in more extreme cases, you definitely will see that. What you have is a situation here where both rabbits kind of know their place. And what often happens is the more submissive rabbit, they either won't approach the food at all until the dominant rabbit leaves, or if they do approach the food, they might get a warning nip or just get chased away a little bit. And this can obviously escalate to be more aggressive. This is just sad. I don't want Sachin just eating leaves while Butchin eats all the food. I would like to emphasize the fact that this is a relationship of a bonded pair. Oh, I missed the flop. Oh gosh, oh baby. That is adorable. Oh my gosh, rabbits they're too good for the world. Oh, I love you, Bubs. The obvious solution in a scenario like this might be to just give the rabbits their vegetables in their own bowl. This can work, but what often happens is if one rabbit eats faster than the other, then they're going to go to the other rabbit's food and either chase them away if they're the more dominant rabbit. Also, again, sometimes especially if you're feeding them close together or like in a pen, the more dominant rabbit is going to try to claim the territory of both bowls and just chase away the other rabbit. So it's just not a great situation. This is when scatter feeding is actually really good. Scatter feeding is I'm sorry. Scatter feeding is literally just putting the food all around the cage. This can still lead to some aggression. Obviously, aggression when it comes to food for all species is very normal, including rabbits. But where scatter feeding is better is that no rabbit can really get territorial over the food bowl because there isn't really a food bowl. And even if a rabbit does decide to get territorial, for example, Sachin is trying to slyly steal that bell pepper from Butchin. And even if Butchin decided to get territorial and wanted Sachin out of his area, my second rabbit, or first rabbit, Sachin, I don't know who's who. Do you guys think Sachin will be oh, he got it. Do you guys see that? I can't film with the rabbits. I just get way too distracted. But as you can see, if Butchin decided he didn't want Sachin near his food, he would probably chase Sachin away, and Sachin would normally not be able to eat, but because the food is scattered all over the pen, he'll just go to a different area. I think Butchin is like shook at what happened. He's like, I was eating a bell pepper and now I don't know where it went. I love them both, but Butchin there's not a lot going up there. He's not the brightest. That's okay, because he's very cute. Is he going to try to steal it back? Oh, see, that's all. Sachin is like, nope, I'm not going to fight with you for that bell pepper. It's not worth it. And see, now Sachin, oh, maybe he will. Oh my God. Scatter feeding not only prevents aggression and territorial behavior when it comes to feeding, but it's also really great for adding, oh, there's a tail raise. It's also really good for adding enrichment to your rabbits. Rabbits in the wild spend their entire days hunting and looking for food. I don't know why I said hunting. Rabbits don't hunt, but they do spend the majority of their day running away from predators and looking for food. Obviously, we don't want to replicate everything we see in the wild. For one, these are a domesticated species, and two, even the European rabbits, which are what our rabbits are domesticated versions of, they don't live as long. So obviously, we are doing things right in captivity, but I think more enrichment is never a bad thing. So yeah, the simplest form of scatter feeding is just to throw the food all around the cage. Some people like to do this with just veggies or just one feeding of the day. Some people do it with every single food. I personally do this with literally everything I feed, whether it be pellets, a little bit of oats for treats, their regular treats I usually just throw around their cage, vegetables. But if you want to warm your rabbit up to it, you can definitely start slow. Even just doing this like once a week or something is great. Some of the cons when it comes to scatter feeding is it can be a little bit harder to monitor exactly how much your rabbit is eating. Also, if their enclosure isn't super clean, there is a slight possibility that they might ingest that they might ingest something that they're not supposed to. I don't think that this is as big of a deal as people make it to be. I find rabbits to be very intelligent, much more than we give them credit for, and I fed my rabbits even when their cage is a little bit messy, and they know not to eat their own poops, or they know not to eat like plastic things, so you shouldn't have things that are choking hazards anyways, but that is obviously an extra precaution you can take. Another thing that's hard with scatter feeding is even if you are going to watch your rabbits while they're eating, it's really hard to know exactly how much your rabbit is eating, even if you have a single rabbit, because it is possible that parts of the food goes to areas of the cage where maybe you don't see, so they don't eat it immediately, especially with pellets. I used to have my rabbits in a pen, and every time I would clean, I would find little corners of areas of pellets that they weren't able to get to. Some people think that this is a bigger deal than it is. It really depends on how specific you are when it comes to your rabbits feeding. I really don't do that much measuring. I kind of just play it by ear, and I go based off what I think my animals need. But yeah, if you're someone who's very intense on monitoring that, it might be a little bit harder. I think the main con is just that it's so messy, especially if you're trying to scatter feed like vegetables. A lot of the times they leave juices behind, and especially if you have like a free roam rabbit and you're trying to scatter feed on the carpet or something, it just can be a little bit messy. Some things you can do that's not as extreme as scatter feeding but still gives them more enrichment is having a lot of different feeding stations set up. So making you set up 4 or 5 plates around their pen or around their house if they're free roam and feed a little bit on each of those. Also, you can get like a stone mat or some type of mat you can put and at least scatter feed around that little area. This isn't great at preventing territorial aggression because you're still kind of limiting to a small area, but it's really good at adding enrichment. Some other things you can try just to add enrichment is actually feeding inside of a dig box. This works really well for pellets. Everyone seems to do dig boxes a little differently. Obviously, if you're doing something like soil, I wouldn't recommend it because then your rabbit might ingest a little bit of the soil. But if you want to do a dig box with like large pieces of paper towel or the crumpled up packaging that comes when you buy like Amazon packets, I think that would work well. You can also get, I want to do a video because this really kind company sent me one of these. They're called like snuffle mats. They're originally meant for dogs and they're made out of fleece, and you can put their pellets on it, and it's just another really good way to make them like dig and have to look around. So yeah, I just wanted to film a quick video while I was feeding my rabbits because I thought they were exhibiting some really interesting behaviors that I wanted to capture on camera. I'm so glad I did because Sachin's flop was literally the cutest thing I have seen all year. Well, thank you guys for watching. Also, if anyone's new to my channel, this is not their setup. I have a lot of videos showing like rabbit room tours and pen tours and things like that. They just come outside for a couple hours during the day when it's nice and bright. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Bye.